Welcome to Sterling Insights, Stand Out and Supercharge Your Assets, the go-to podcast for financial advisors aiming to grow their assets under management, stand out in a crowded market, and retain assets nearly forever. Are you advising high net worth clients who own appreciated capital assets? Do you want to help them sell without losing a quarter, a third, or even more of their hard-earned profits to capital gains taxes? Then this podcast is tailored for you. Each episode brings you the latest strategies and expert advice from leading financial advisors, seasoned attorneys, and experienced CPAs. Learn how to maximize your clients' wealth, minimize their taxes, and supercharge your advisory practice with actionable insights. Join us on Sterling Insights, Stand Out and Supercharge Your Assets, where you'll gain the knowledge and tools to set yourself apart and achieve unparalleled success in wealth management. Subscribe now and empower your practice for a brighter, more prosperous future.
Hey, welcome to the Sterling Insight Supercharge Your Asset podcast. This is Charles Trakas, guest host, here with Candy Messer, owner of Affordable Bookkeeping and Payroll Services. How you doing today, Candy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
How's Tennessee treating you?
It's beautiful. I love it here.
Again, thank you for coming on to the podcast. And really, I like to just begin like everything. Where did you begin? How did you get into this business? How long ago? How long have you been involved into payroll services?
Sure. Originally, I started working in the field in 1998. First, I was helping actually at a preschool while a director was on a medical leave. And then when she came back about 6 months later, I went to work for a publishing company and I handled everything related to the finance. So someone knew what I did and her husband had a business. And so in 2002, she was asking me to please help her do bookkeeping for her husband's business. And I wasn't sure, like, I really wanted to go that route. I was happy with what I was doing and I wasn't sure about starting the whole business thing and having to do everything to be in compliance, honestly. But she bugged me for a few months. So I finally agreed. And then I had to get a home operating permit and a business license and buy the software and do all the things. And I said, this doesn't make sense. Like, I'm paying so much to just have this business. I'm not bringing in enough revenue. So I decided I'll bring in a couple more clients on the side of my quote unquote real job. And that's kind of what I did for a few years. And then in 2004, my husband said, just quit your job, focus on what you're doing for your business. People really like the service you're offering. So he basically convinced me to give up that guaranteed paycheck to do it all on my own. And so that's what I did. And then in 2006, I hired my first employee and have continued to grow since. And so at that point, I was offering bookkeeping and payroll, sales tax, 1099s, business licenses, like all the compliance stuff business owners are supposed to be doing, often don't know they're supposed to be doing or don't want to handle it. So that's how I actually started my business.
And that's very awesome to have your husband support you like that and tell you to go for it. There's nothing better. You need your spousal support when you're self-employed. That's great. So basically you're telling me that you began in 2004?
Technically, 2002 is when I started with that one person and then added a couple on the side. And then in 2004 is when I left my job and then added a few more clients. And then over time, of course, it's been building.
Perfect. Do you have employees, staff?
I still have staff. I have 8 currently. And now we're a fully remote team. When I first started and hired, of course, I was living in California. I had an office there and all of the staff used to come to the office to do the work. Thankfully, we started practicing the remote setup before COVID hit. So once that did come, I'd actually just given notice a few weeks before everything shut down. And I was going to be downsizing and letting all my staff work from home, except for an admin, because we did have people who would still drop off paperwork or pick up payroll checks or things like that for a couple clients who didn't really want to go to the direct deposit route or things like that. So I had downsized to another office, and now everyone over time has been able to be employed in different locations. So I still have 2 in California, but I now have people in other states as well.
That's great, because I was just going to ask, are you just to your local territory? You only provide services to Tennessee. Now it seems like you're nationwide. Like you
Can't be nationwide. I still have, actually, most of my clients are still from California because I had been there and built my business for over 20 years in California. And although we still really could have clients anywhere in the United States, and we have, most of that core business was California. And because our clients stay with us for such a long time, that's still, most of my clients are still located there.
That's great. Roughly how many clients do you have?
Oh, goodness. I would say probably somewhere in the range of 100, 115. And that's between some we do everything for them. Some we just do bookkeeping. Some we just do payroll. Some we just help with sales tax or 1099s. And some, just have, I'll take this and make this package. It really just depends on what they want to outsource, what they need in their business, and maybe some things that they might still want to handle. And so really we cater to the client, and we have a discussion and figure out what it is that they really need, and then figure out the services that we need to provide to them.
That's great. So is it predominantly business owners?
Yes.
Okay.
We have had individuals. I've had trusts. We actually still have a couple trusts right now that we help with as well. In the past, I've actually helped some older adults who didn't want to have to worry about bills, or maybe they lost their husband and the husband used to take care of everything. So we used to do that. But especially now that we are fully remote and I'm not going to people's locations as much, where I literally used to go into someone's home, I paid their bills, reconciled their accounts.
Right.
We don't have as many individuals any longer. So I would say probably 99% of our clients really are small business owners.
That's great. Also, do you have any, what do I want to say, barriers? People resisting to upload their documents to you for you to provide their services. I've come across that with some CPAs. So I was just curious of how you overcome that.
I don't think it's that they don't want to. It's just that they are so busy doing all the things. This even happens when someone reaches out to us and we need to create a proposal, because we need to see what it is we have to do. Like, we don't just create a couple buckets and we fit you into the bucket. We actually create a proposal based on your business. So I need to see bank statements and credit card statements, if you have a loan, those kind of things. And so they'll say, yes, I'm going to get that information to you, but they're so busy, they don't always follow through right away. Same thing with clients. If we're asking, we might be asking for W-9 forms so we can issue 1099s, and then they didn't get them in the first place. So now they have to go to the person and ask for it, send it to us. They fall behind on that, or they're just working so many hours and they mean to get to it and they just don't. But it does cause us issues. We can't get things done on time if we don't have the information. So we do have a schedule where we ask them, please provide this information by this date. Otherwise, the information we're providing to you isn't 100% accurate because we're missing details.
Yeah, it seems like that is in everybody's business. Mine is more, there's a hesitation because they're uploading someone else's documents like tax returns. Yeah, yes. But with you, yes, you're providing that direct service. That's good. Who is your ideal client? I've heard business owners, but are we doctors? Are we,
Yes.
do you have a niche?
Yes. So I don't have a specific niche per se, but for the bookkeeping, we really are helping those who are service-based businesses. We don't really do retail or like manufacturing, but some of our top industries that we've helped are like fast food restaurants. We've had landscaping companies. We have doctors' offices. We don't do the medical billing for insurance, but doing the actual bookkeeping for the doctor or the office, things like that. One of our medical offices we help has 2 doctors in there, and we have to separate everything by doctor. So they have to provide all that information to us too. So those are some of the typical for bookkeeping. On the payroll side, it's really, you could be in any industry. It doesn't matter in terms of that, because we're running for your employees. Generally 1 to 25 are the people that we generally help. We do have some that have more employees than that, but we like to help the smaller business. And We are just like your payroll companies that you hear out there, whether it's Paychex or ADP or PayCycle, Gusto. We actually are the payroll processor. So information comes to us, we process it, we pay all the taxes, we do all the reporting, provide W-2s, direct deposit for your employees' staff so that they can just be paid electronically instead of by paper check. There's a few who still like those paper checks, but I think we only have 2 businesses left that have any employees who want a paper check.
Excuse me. That is funny. Oh my. So let me ask this. How do these business owners find you?
That's a good question too. Some people will reach out and say they just did a Google search. A lot of people will be referred to us, whether it's from their own CPA, sometimes a business banker, if they're trying to provide a loan and they have to have documents, right? What is your financial position? And they don't have their stuff together. Sometimes they need to get their bookkeeping done just to be able to apply for a loan. Sometimes clients will refer other people to us as well. So most of the time it's actually word of mouth, but people can find us from the internet as well.
And what is your website?
It's abandp.com. So it's short for Affordable Bookkeeping and Payroll. You could spell out the whole thing too, but we actually have the short link that will then direct you to the full Affordable Bookkeeping and Payroll.com. And then, of course, you can find me on LinkedIn and on Facebook, all the social media platforms. I'm there too.
Yeah, it looked like you had 4 or 5 underneath your name. No, that's great. We all have clients that are fun, and there's some that we have some issues. I always like to know, what do you really, I hear payroll and that type of thing, but what are the common issues that you really help with these folks?
Really, it comes down to a lot of the compliance things too, again, because you have a lot of different documents that are due to government agencies, again, whether it's a business license, payroll returns, 1099s. So we help with all of that. And we have one of my top clients actually has 7 restaurants. He's in 2 states. And so he has in one state a certain set of regulations and certain returns that have to be filed. And in another state, there are very different things too, because again, there's different payroll returns. They actually in one state have another document that's due every quarter related to payroll, but it's technically not a payroll return. And there's just different things that go on in terms of even filing with your Secretary of State for your entity, because he's in 2 states. Technically he is, formed in one company, but he's operating as a foreign entity in another company, another state. So then we actually have to file with both secretaries of state of those 2 states. So it's things like that people don't even know that they're supposed to be doing, that we can help make sure that they are doing and being in compliance. Because if you don't, you can get penalties, and the government isn't going to care that you didn't know. They're just going to say, you should have known, you should have done your research. And so those are kind of things that we help with.
That I'm going to ask you here is, we always have this. Something had to go wrong once.
Right.
Maybe more than once, but I like to hear, give me a story of something that went wrong.
Of course, there are a few. One of the most recent things, and it technically wasn't our fault either per se, but we had a client that we do engagement letters every year. It will spell out the scope of the work and the due dates and how we bill and everything. And he hadn't signed, and it was already into February, and we were supposed to be doing work in January, February. So we'd been doing a few things, but a few things we said we can't do till this is signed. So I think he finally just quickly signed it. We invoiced him, and then he reached out and he was like, what was debited from my bank account? Like, how much were you taking? This is more than usual. Right. Turns out he hadn't really read all the details, because we offer multiple packages in terms of you can pay this much, or you could pay monthly, you could pay quarterly. And so he just picked the lowest price and signed it, not realizing that was a larger amount up front. And so he was basically yelling at my staff. And at that point, I was like, this is not my staff's fault. And he's not respecting my staff. And there's no reason that he couldn't have just said, I'm so sorry, I made a mistake. I didn't read everything. I didn't realize you were going to debit this. But he was basically ordering us to give him the money back, but we didn't even have it yet, because it's ACH. It takes 3 days, right? So debits from you. I don't get it. And so finally I just called and said, just stop payment. you could just go to your bank, stop payment. We won't get paid technically. But then at that point, it was just, he'd already been a little bit forceful in the past. And my staff was like, oh, it's all right, I could put up with it. But finally, at that point, I had to say, I need to protect my staff. And I had to make the decision, even though he was one of our top revenue generating clients, I had to make that decision that my staff and their mental health and feeling safe and secure in their job is more important than that client. So that was a very difficult thing. I actually am a person that likes harmony. I don't like conflict. And even having that conversation was not easy for me. So I wouldn't say that was necessarily a mistake per se, but it was an issue that I had to face and deal with in the company.
Yeah, it sounded like a business decision we all have to make that we don't want to. I was in the same scenario. And sometimes, yes, we just have to let that tie go. Love you. It's been great, but yeah, my staff is more important. I like that. And that kind of was going to lead into what does this mean to you? But I think you're coming out with it. When you're able to take care of your staff or you're able to take care of your clients, what does that really mean to you?
I love when I talk to a client, like again, the person who owns the 7 restaurants. I remember one time he called me, he had a question, he didn't understand something, and I explained it to him, and he literally just, like, I could hear him exhale. And he said, every time I talk to you, I feel so much better because I know everything is being handled and I don't have to worry. Right. And so I love giving that peace of mind and knowing that we can handle the things for the client that they find overwhelming, they don't understand. They could do what they love in their business, and they know that we are going to be there to help them.
Yeah, and that's what people are looking for. Yeah, this is what I do for a living, and I don't care to do the books. You can do them for me, and I need someone to trust. No, that's great. Really good. Give me a really good story, something that, one that went right. We always
Sure.
have those moments that it just happens, and you just, because of your process, probably.
One time I had someone call me, and he was a construction company, and he said, I really don't understand how I'm looking at my profit and loss, and it says at the bottom that we have profit, but when I look at our bank balance, like, it's not there. I don't understand what's happening. Can you please help? And he actually had 2 bookkeepers on staff. They were large enough that they really needed to have staff. So I actually did an analysis for him, and I had gone back and looked at prior years, like what was their revenue, what were their expenses, and what was their net profit. And when he called, he said, we're doing really well. Our business has grown. A couple of years ago, we were 3 million. This year, we're probably going to hit $10 million. So in his mind, like, super successful.
Yeah.
When I drilled down into the numbers, I found that every year as they were growing, they were becoming less profitable. And they were spending a lot more on labor, a lot more on some of the other things that it took them to grow their business. And I was able to sit down with him and say, this is what's happening. So even though you see profit still on your profit and loss report, you and your partners are taking draws as well. And so that's cash out of the business. So that is taxable income still to the business. It's just you're withdrawing the cash. So that's one of the discrepancies. But the other thing is your labor has gone up, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was something like from 24% to 42% of the revenue.
Wow.
And so it was costing him more. They were getting these projects. It turns out, as we had the conversation, he said, I think I'm probably charging too little because I'm getting accepted. All of my proposals are getting accepted. And I was like, that's a clue right there. If all of them are getting accepted,
red flag.
Your pricing is too low. And so that was the problem. He was pricing too low. He had overtime that they hadn't necessarily had before because they were trying to keep up on all the projects. And so it was eye-opening to him to see that. So I worked with him, I think it was about 6 months, like helping him identify where to make some changes, and then helping his bookkeepers identify these types of things as well. And then he ended up hiring an actual CPA in his company as well to help manage all of that. And he wrote me a testimonial saying, thank you so much. Like, you've been amazing. You helped us identify the problem. And I feel bad that we're not going to need your service anymore. And I told him, ultimately, like, I did what I needed to do for his company, and now he's on the right path. And he's got the staff that he needs and they understand now what to look for. And so that was my goal with him. So I was very happy that he really found what was going wrong in the company and was able to make those changes.
Very successful. Very successful. That was a good story. I'm more than sure that he probably still takes care of you, probably refers people to you to this day that he comes across. Because most business owners, when something good happens to them, they're going to refer and they're going to talk to their friends. But yeah, no, that's a really great story. Let's do this. Let me ask you this one. What is your biggest challenge right now in your business?
I think one of my biggest challenges is really my inbox. Right? I don't know if everyone is like me. I can get hundreds of emails a day. It's crazy. Some of them, I just say, I don't even need them. I just delete them. For instance, as a QuickBooks user, as an accountant user, we have clients that are in the software, and Intuit will email us like when payroll has been run, it sends you like an email to this has been successfully processed. I could just delete some of those. I get a lot of emails that I think people bought my name off a list somewhere and they're marketing to me and they don't know anything about my business and trying to sell me their product. And so I, a lot of times just have to quickly just delete. But it's time consuming sometimes to go through that and respond. And so I've actually been letting clients know too, if you reach out to my staff, they probably can get an answer to you quicker than if you're reaching out to me as well. And I've been empowering my team to make decisions. And if there's really something they can't do on their own for some reason still, then they can come to me. But that's one of the things I've been trying to have is reduce the number of emails that I'm getting, because I can't do an efficient job if I'm stuck in the inbox all day long.
I can relate. That's all. I can relate. There are a lot of emails that are a waste of our time. Yeah. AI has been a little help. I'm looking into that myself to see if it could help say, here's a marketing one. This is business. This is fluff. But yeah. Do you have staff right with you as well that can help you with that stuff currently to help you like get through the admin?
Sure. When I'm gone, we can talk about clockwork in a little bit too, but when I'm gone testing my company and I'm away, I forward my inbox. All the messages go to my operations manager. So I don't even have to see them. On a day-to-day basis, I'm not doing that. I'm actually thinking right now of hiring someone who can actually monitor the inbox, because even the last time I took a week off in February for my birthday and spent time with my husband, and she had all the emails, and she said, out of all the emails that I received in that week, there were probably 15 to 20 that you really needed to see, and the rest of them you didn't. Right? And so I'm thinking that maybe that's something I will do a next hire, maybe be an executive assistant or something to help with other things, as well as monitoring the inbox, letting me know if there really is something important. But other than that, some of the other things that I'm getting that aren't really as urgent, she can handle, he can handle, whoever it may be, or just delete.
Delegation is great, isn't it? Let me ask you a question. I noticed this thing called Clockwork System Certified. Give me some details here, please.
Sure. I don't know if you're familiar with Mike Michalowicz. He is an author who's written some fabulous books, including Profit First. All In is on leadership. He had Get Different on marketing. So there's a lot of books he's written. And so one of the books he wrote is called Clockwork, and it is how to get your company to efficiently run without you, so you could take a 4-week vacation. Now, whether you really take a vacation or you do other things, that's up to you. But I read the book. And then I was like, okay, I need to implement this in my company because I work way too much. I am at the age where I have parents who are in their 80s now. My mother-in-law's in her 80s. I have a daughter with young children. And so I have people who will need me periodically, and I want to be able to step away if necessary and not feel tied to my business, working crazy hours, which I have done. And so I started implementing it. And as I was implementing it, I was thinking there are too many people like me who are entrepreneurs who thought they would have freedom by having a company, and they're working more than they ever did, maybe not even making as much as if they would have had maybe a 9-to-5 job. And so it'd be great if they could learn this too. And then as I was finishing up the program, they decided to change from actually being the ones to train business owners to training us to work with business owners, right? So they're now certifying people in this program. So Mike Michalowicz partnered with someone named Adrian Dorson, who was an expert in operational efficiencies. And so that is the program. Now it's Clockwork, and it teaches you all of the things you need to do to be able to step away. So it's empowering your team. You talked about delegation. It's actually delegating, to giving them the authority to make decisions and the information they need to make those decisions and things like that. So as I learned it in my own company and started implementing it, then I became certified in the program. So I can now work with others to help them be able to step away and take a real vacation if they want. Not, I'm going somewhere, but I'm checking email, I'm taking phone calls, I'm returning phone calls to clients. That's just work in another location.
Excellent. No, yeah, excellent. In addition, it's like you said, you're trying to show them this is how you bring more value to the company. This is how you're able to do the American dream, build a business and sell it at top dollar. Yeah,
Right.
no, there's some clients I have, same thing. They like to be in the business instead of on top of the business. No, that is very important. And what a great attribute to add to your client base. Yeah, that's great.
I'm definitely passionate about it because, again, I know I've talked to so many people who have said, I'm burnt out, I'm not enjoying what I'm doing any longer. And that's a sad place to be when you started this business because you had a passion and you wanted to serve customers and give them whatever your product or service is, but you're just completely wiped out and you feel that you're not able to give to your family. Because I've had that before too, where my daughter might call and say, Mom, this, is happening. Can you come with me?
Yes.
Sorry, I have all these things scheduled. And even now, she might reach out and it might be a day I'm recording podcasts and that's set in stone, right? So I'm not going to change that. But there have also been times, even last week, she called and said, I have to go to the doctor's office. Can you watch the boys for me so that I can go and not have to take them with me? Okay, sure, no problem. I was able to just go over and do that. Where in the past, I wouldn't. And so it's just making my life more flexible. And as I've said, I'm not yet exactly where I want to be, but I have a significant improvement over where I had been. And so that's exciting.
Yeah, you're doing what I say, balancing between life and business, your work, and you need it. You really do. No, and it sounds like you are getting to your goals. You're getting to where you want to be. Candy, I want to thank you for being on today. I want to thank everyone for watching or listening to the Sterling Insights Supercharge Your Assets podcast. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Sterling Insights, Stand Out and Supercharge Your Assets, where we provide the info you need from successful leading financial advisors, lawyers, and CPAs. Your hosts, Roger and Catherine Silk, invite you to learn more about Sterling Foundation Management by visiting sterlingfoundations.com.